Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Smart Outsourcing Talks. And today we have our guest, Candy Blue. So, Candy, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Minaj, for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
Yeah. I think a lot of people know you already. You've been speaking in a lot of conferences, and I saw you in the Scaling New Heights. You had a session. But let me introduce you. Um, uh, so let us welcome today one of the most exciting person, I would say. She's just not inspiring, but has also an incredible and impactful journey in this accounting and business community. So, Candy Blue is a founder of Kramika Business Solutions, a firm known for its strong focus on financial integrity, outsourced controller services, and the fraud prevention. What makes Candy's story even more fascinating is that she started her career just at 14 years. Yeah, you heard it right. It's at 14. And from those early days to now, she's been on a mission to uncover the financial truth in every business she touches. Her work has earned her reputation as a trusted advisor to business owners across industries. She's been recognized for her fierce commitment to transparency, her ability to spot financial red flags that other often misses, and the most importantly for helping businesses course correct before it's too late. She is a passionate advocate for work-life balance and setting up sustainable businesses, especially as a mom, as an entrepreneur, and a leader rolled out into everything into one. Right. So, Candy, it's such a pleasure to have you on this Smart Outsourcing Talks. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. And that intro, wow. I really hope I am all those things. It sounded wonderful. But yeah, you got a lot about me in there. I'm really impressed.
and and I know you from last few years, I guess, and I've been seeing you. You've been coaching Woodard community members, and we have been interacting for so many years now. I think few years at least, and it's always great to talk because you have everything. Always have something new. I have been actually. Following your LinkedIn post, so those are pretty interesting. And now, of course, you have started with this unbalanced podcast. That is a new thing on the block, right?
Yeah. We're trying to really push being real and honest and not all the pretty pictures everybody puts out there and all the wonderful things
Mm,
because we all know business ownership and firm ownership is not easy.
mm,
And while you hear about everybody's wins, the
mm,
reality is before the wins, there's a lot of setbacks and
mm,
bad days. And so that's what Unbalanced is really about, was just a safe
mm,
space where we could speak our truth and not feel like we have to make things sound perfect.
mm,
So it's been a little passion project of I do it with Samantha Halburn,
mm.
and it's produced by Anchor, and we're very grateful to them.
Okay.
But yeah, it's been a passion project of ours to just have a safe space to speak your truth.
And how did you come about this name, unbalanced?
Well, we took a poll and we had some other names out there. We actually were considering using Bank Rex as
Okay.
WRECKS,
Oh.
but um, that one didn't win for a lot of reasons. It just would have been hard to
Mm,
find and a little
mm,
confusing. But Unbalanced really kind of puts you where we're always accountants. You're trying to get everything to balance,
mm,
and you may get your clients and everything right, but that doesn't mean you are got everything in balance. And I feel like so often we are unbalanced, but we're smiling and keeping
mm.
everything perfect for everyone else.
That's fantastic, I think. Right. Can we start with little about your journey? So, you started at 14. I mean, it's
Yeah.
unusual.
Yeah. I started at
Okay.
14 in an office. I was just brought in to file and answer phones.
Hmm.
And that progressed. My aunt was the bookkeeper,
Hmm.
and she taught me her job.
Hmm.
And when she left, she said, Candy knows how to do this. And they didn't believe me, and they hired somebody who messed everything up.
Hmm.
And when they had to let that person go, they said, "Oh, we heard you know what to do. Any chance you could work on this while we're looking for someone?" And I fixed everything, and it was manual. This is before
Hmm.
computers. We're talking
Okay.
in the
Hmm.
1900s, as the kids call it. Um, and so I fixed it all, and they hired somebody who messed it up, and they asked me to do it again. And I said, "I'll make
Hmm.
you a deal," because I
Hmm.
saw how much they were paying. And I never thought of this as a career until I saw what they were paying these people.
Okay.
And I said, "Well, how about this? I will fix it, and I will do it for you. You
Hmm.
pay me that full-time salary you were paying that person.
Hmm. Hmm.
I'll get the entire job done, and I'm going to save you money, because guess what? I'm going to answer phones and file for you for free."
Oh, wow.
And they agreed.
So
And
you have been.
I
Hmm.
negotiated that, and they gave it to me. But that was also when I uncovered my first case of fraud,
Hmm.
because they brought in a computer, big old
Hmm.
Sperry Univac, and I had to load it. And while I was loading it and going through every line of the records, I kept finding discrepancies.
Hmm.
And that had been hidden from me. But, when you're loading a computer system, you have to look at everything.
Hmm.
And that broke my heart, because it was the controller that was
Hmm. Hmm.
embezzling.
Hmm. Hmm. So you started entrepreneurship pretty early.
Well, I actually was working for companies. I didn't
Hmm.
start my firm until I was in my mid-30s.
Hmm.
And that was because I got burnt out after 9/11, and I
Hmm.
joined the Peace Corps and decided I was going to go save the world.
Hmm.
And then I became a Peace Corps dropout and
Hmm.
came home, and I didn't know what I was going to do. So I went back to school,
Hmm.
and I started working for a New York City consulting firm.
Okay.
And then they helped me get started with my own firm.
Hmm. So when did
They,
Cremica started? You know.
um, I think officially it'll 2007,
Okay.
but I was doing it under my name prior,
Hmm. Hmm.
because I kind of went out on my own around 2004,
Hmm.
but officially as a company was 2007.
Hmm. Great. And so when you started Cremica, so what was the thought in the mind? So you always started as a specialty firm, creating a niche, or it
I had no
was.
idea what I was going to do when I started. I
Hmm.
just, working for the consulting firm, I was doing these great jobs, and they were really enjoyable.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
I liked that. I liked going in and helping people and going through everything.
Hmm.
And, it was fun. It was exciting.
Hmm.
And so initially I didn't have a target or I just was doing whatever came my way. I would get referrals.
Hmm.
And what I started asking for was things that nobody else wanted.
Hmm.
I said, and this is when Britney Spears shaved her hair and she was going crazy. I
Hmm.
said, "Send me Britney Spears shaving her hair off." I said,
Hmm.
"Don't send me boring work. If anybody else
Hmm.
could do it, I don't want it. I want absolute disasters."
Hmm.
And so I would get these projects, and it would be so much fun, because they would be huge messes. And I'd
Hmm.
have to put it all, the company back together. And,
Hmm.
I don't know. I enjoyed that. But
Hmm.
when I moved from New York to New Orleans,
Hmm.
everything changed. And I kind of became a low cost bookkeeping company.
Hmm.
That
Hmm.
was not good.
Hmm.
So, yeah, we've transformed since then, but that was
Okay.
a rough period.
Hmm. Hmm. And so you thrive on chaos, right?
What was that?
I said you thrive on chaos. You like to clean up the mess.
I do. I do. But once it's in order, I don't want any part of it. I want. And so that was why I hired employees. because I
Uh-huh.
would fix things and they'd say, well, we want you to stay on. I was like, oh, absolutely not. This is boring now. Like anybody
Mm,
could do
mm,
this. But I
mm,
realized if I had a team, I could do the messy part and then have a team that liked stability and consistency and doing things that
mm,
are maybe I consider boring,
mm,
but is what they enjoy doing.
mm,
So that was when I thought maybe I should hire a team so I could
mm.
move that piece over to people and stop walking away. Because when I finished a project, I didn't have work.
Okay. Mm, mm. So tell me a little more about Cremica. So, what services you offer, and, how big is the firm?
So right now we've evolved. And
Mm,
today we're a boutique accounting firm that specializes in strategic oversight. So we primarily partner with CPA firms and
mm,
advisory firms,
mm,
and they send us clients. And they're
mm,
typically people that are under scrutiny, whether it's
mm,
audit, they're
mm,
selling, they have
mm,
investors,
mm,
whatever it is that they have a higher
mm,
level of scrutiny. And so we just do that middle piece.
mm,
All of our clients have an in-house team,
mm.
and we are a middle layer that
Okay.
is just
Mm,
then giving
mm,
information over to their advisors or their tax people or whoever it is that needs
mm,
information.
mm. So, how's the engagement structured? I mean, so you first lay out the goals or objectives of the engagement, or each engagement will be different from each other,
Yeah, so
or how it works? No?
primarily what we're looking to do is make sure they have a clean set of books that, and usually a lot of it may be advisory firms, maybe they're trying to
Mm,
get the company to another level, but they
mm,
can't do that without good
mm,
numbers. And
mm,
maybe the in-house team has been with them forever, but they
mm.
have no formal accounting training, but they're
Okay.
good. They just
Mm,
don't really know accounting.
mm,
So we are really good working with an in-house team
mm,
and helping to restructure things so it's not difficult. They don't feel uncomfortable. We're not trying to take their job. We're
mm,
just trying to make some little changes that
mm,
sometimes they don't even notice it. Maybe they have something on the P&L that should be on the balance sheet. Well,
mm,
we're going to use that same name they like to use, and we're just going to move it on over to the balance sheet,
mm,
and fix it so it stays comfortable. Because,
mm,
sometimes it's a family member that's been doing the books
mm,
or just somebody long term that they trust
mm,
and they know all the clients. They don't want to get rid of their person, but they realize
mm,
their person just doesn't have that capacity
mm,
to really pull together maybe gap
mm,
financials
mm,
or accrual
mm,
based financials,
mm, mm,
or to get them through an audit.
mm,
So we do that heavy lift so the
mm,
day-to-day team can keep working, and
mm.
we're going to get them through these other milestones.
Sure. And these are generally a projects, or it is a continuous work?
It's typically starts as a project
Hmm.
and then continues to monthly controllership.
Okay.
And we typically will wait to offer the monthly work until we've gotten
Hmm.
through the project
Hmm.
and decide. It's like dating.
Hmm.
Do we really want to keep seeing this person?
That's interesting.
Maybe we're just going to get them through the audit and say,
Yeah.
wow, good luck. Have a great life. But we got to go now. But if we enjoy them and we feel like we're working well,
Hmm.
then we will say, okay, would you like us to continue? Because if we continue, then
Hmm.
next year's audit will be seamless. And
Okay.
when your investors are asking for reports, we'll have everything ready for them.
Hmm.
But, if it's not, we've fortunately been able to open up, I guess, what you call a lifestyle firm.
Sure.
Is It's got to work for us
Hmm.
and who we are. And if not, there's so
Hmm.
many other firms out there.
Hmm.
Have at it.
Hmm. And you typically pick up clients from any particular industry or segment, or it's agnostic?
We don't have a specific industry, but if we feel like maybe something they need is not something we're
Hmm.
comfortable with,
Hmm.
fortunately, I have so many great connections and I know so
Hmm.
many amazing people in the industry that if I think somebody
Hmm.
might be a better fit, we're going to refer it
Hmm.
out. We always think
Hmm.
about the client also.
Hmm.
So
Hmm. Hmm. And how did you specialize in this fraud prevention, financial integrity, and stuff like that? So,
So it's funny because I would say I don't look for fraud, fraud finds me. I would just go into companies and I wasn't hired to find fraud. I would
hmm,
just go in to say, it takes, we don't know, something's wrong. We
hmm,
can't figure it out. And we're looking through it and I'd be like,
hmm,
oh, well, maybe it's because somebody's embezzling, and
hmm,
here's
hmm,
what the problem is. And I've done so many cases like that. And I've had so
hmm,
many people done the investigation, the prosecution,
hmm,
put
hmm,
them in jail.
hmm,
Everybody thought that's what I
hmm,
did.
hmm,
And I said, no, I'm just an accountant, but I
hmm,
just kind of find fraud a lot.
hmm,
And somebody mentioned to me, said, well, aren't you a fraud examiner? I said, what is that? I don't even know what that
hmm,
is.
hmm,
And then it progressed, and I talked to Dawn Brolin,
hmm.
and I said, how much work is it to be a CFE? She's like, take the damn test, Candy. She's like, you do it. And she said, the hardest part of the test for most people is the accounting. She said, you're going to
Hmm,
breeze through that. I
hmm,
spoke to Dawn in September, and by November of that year, I was a CFE.
hmm,
And it just progressed from there because everybody knew me as the fraud person.
hmm,
And I go to fraud conferences and I love talking about the stories and how to prevent it and what to look for and getting to know people in the fraud industry and speaking. And so it just kind of moved. And now, actually, well, next week or coming up, I'm going for my PI license to be a private investigator,
okay.
not to do private investigation work, to complement the fraud work if needed,
Hmm,
that I just have
okay.
extra tools in my toolbox.
Hmm,
And we are opening a second company.
hmm,
It's in the works. And Kramerica is named after Kramer from Seinfeld,
okay.
because when I lived in New York, my friends
Hmm.
joked around and called me Kramer because I was a consultant and they didn't think I worked and I always had money like Kramer. And then I said, well, if I'm opening a second company, it is Vandelay Forensic Group.
Oh.
So Vandelay, and a lot of the young kids these days have no idea who Seinfeld or Kramer or Vandelay is, but for those in the know, they may get the
Hmm,
joke that I have a company
hmm,
called Kramerica and Vandelay. So
hmm.
we'll be launching the fraud and investigation company this fall,
Oh,
and
fantastic.
really
Hmm,
going into that line of work. Or
hmm,
my firm kind of runs without me,
hmm,
so I'll be sitting on the fraud side, but my team wants to go and get their CFE.
hmm.
They want to get the certifications and get certified in doing fraud work as well.
Sure. So, is there something to do? I see on the background the toolbox open, the computers are open. Are you investigating something over there?
This is my husband built me this computer because if there's one thing I do, I have no patience and I complain a lot. And I was just always aggravated that my computer was too slow.
Hmm,
And he said he couldn't take it. He said he built me the F1 of computers,
hmm,
that he found out what gaming computers, what speed they did.
hmm,
And I don't know if he doubled it or tripled it,
hmm.
but he bought me a chair, a gaming chair. He built the computer. He bought me all these gadgets and he goes, please, are you happy now? And I'm like, I don't like my monitors. This has got to change. And he's like, are you ever happy? So yeah, he built me that, and
Hmm.
he's super sweet. Like this thing behind me, he built that
Oh,
because I was
wow.
complaining I didn't
Hmm.
have a place to put my diplomas, and comes in and he's like putting it in with the lights. I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm just so
Hmm,
tired of you complaining.
hmm.
So he builds whatever I complain about.
That's great.
He's great.
Good partner you have. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, he's good. I'm gonna keep him.
That's a good one. Good. Okay.
Uh,
So, coming to so what you are planning in this new company. So it would be a pure play fraud detection, or what's going to be the offerings?
Primarily, my hopes is to do fraud investigations when people find
Hmm.
discrepancies and maybe
Hmm.
they think something's
Hmm.
going wrong in the business, that we can go in and help them figure
Hmm.
out what the numbers are, what the
Hmm.
reality is, pull the
Hmm.
stuff, and
Hmm.
move maybe to do, and the PI work. I'm feeling, I've heard from speaking to people in the industry that when you do things like divorce cases, the PI
Hmm.
license will help you get more data.
Okay.
So, and fortunately, I am surrounded by amazing people in the fraud industry as friends.
Hmm. Hmm.
So I have a lot of great people
Hmm.
to work with and talk to, and
Hmm.
they're just so supportive. They're wonderful.
Hmm. 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 And what's the team size that you have now? How many people work with you?
We have downsized. We are down. We have three,
Hmm. Okay.
and we are. I'm at a point in my life where we would rather turn work away than
Hmm.
increase the team.
You are specializing, right? So,
After, we at our height, we were at 12
okay.
people on the team, and I just find I'm so much happier
Hmm.
with just the team I'm with, and that may change.
Hmm.
But right now, we all have small children,
Hmm.
and we can all spend time with our kids,
Hmm.
um, do like make memories with our children
Hmm.
and do things. And
Hmm.
most of our meetings are about our
Hmm.
family. You
Yeah.
know, we've been working with a lot of these same clients for so many years.
Hmm.
We just know them so well, and
Hmm.
they're now friends. I mean, we
Hmm.
vacation with our clients.
Oh, wow. That's not really
Yeah,
heard of. Great.
they're just family to us at this point.
Uh, hmm. Hmm. Great. I also see you do exciting stuff in terms of keeping your people happy. So I saw some photographs on LinkedIn about outbound with your team and lunch on and stuff like that. So you do invest a lot in people.
I do. We took the entire team and their families on a week vacation to Roatan.
Hmm.
And so we took three families
Hmm.
and we had a blast. There were some
Hmm.
mishaps, but we had a lot of fun. We built a lot of good memories.
Hmm.
We joked, oh, at the kids' weddings, we'll have pictures. And at scaling, we were actually trying to plan another family get together because the kids are all asking to see each other.
Hmm.
And we don't live very close, so
Hmm.
we have to kind of plan it. And yeah, the team means the world to me, and so do their families,
Hmm.
because them doing the work is taking away from their families. So I want to make
Hmm.
sure everything we do makes
Hmm.
sense and is worth it to them.
Hmm.
And
Sure.
we
Yeah.
invest a lot in education as well.
Okay. Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Any experience regarding outsourcing, offshoring? Because
So we've
si-
definitely talked to you, and we were on the cusp of moving in that direction. And I will tell you, and you probably are aware of this, because you were kind of, when I was working with Woodard and we were spending time together, my mom was ill,
Hmm.
and that kind of was putting things on the back burner of what are we going to do. And
Hmm.
after she passed, I
Hmm.
just kind of shut down
Hmm.
and decided, instead of the expansion we were looking at, which we were
Hmm.
definitely talking to you about going in that
Hmm.
direction, I
Hmm.
kind of withdrew
Hmm.
and decided I couldn't cope. And I'm
Hmm.
actually still in a
Hmm.
funny place, even though, she passed in October of 23.
Hmm.
I didn't finish cleaning out her apartment until June of 24. And I had a
Okay.
big truckload come to my house that I haven't been able to look at.
Hmm.
And so I told the team, I just don't feel like I'm ready. I'm
Hmm.
hoping this fraud thing is going to push me to want to do stuff again.
Hmm.
But I've been very much, I just want to be with my family, and I don't want to do
Hmm.
any more than I have to pay the
Hmm.
bills.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I hate to say that,
Yeah.
So but the team loved
Hmm.
meeting with you and
Hmm.
talking to you. And
Hmm.
they said, when we're ready, that would be a
Hmm.
place to go that we should
Hmm.
look at.
Yeah. Yeah, so these are difficult times, so I mean, when you are into entrepreneurship, there are cyclical things that keeps happening, juggling between family and professional life. Yeah. So tell us a little more about some interesting stories on your fraud detection, or something which would viewers would be interested in knowing, that what kind of things that come up with accounting firms.
Well, I'll tell you some. I did a talk at Scaling New Heights,
Hmm.
and there was somebody in the audience, and I said something,
Hmm.
and her jaw, she was just like
Hmm.
the whole time. And one of the big things that shocked her, so we'll let the audience know about it, is that you could just go on Google
Hmm.
and you could just do receipt generator,
Hmm.
and you can generate fake receipts for anything.
Hmm.
So that was a big one. But I heard a story. So this wasn't
Hmm.
my thing, but somebody told a story that blew my mind.
Hmm.
And it was somebody that did payroll,
Hmm.
and he would withhold everybody's federal withholding. But
Hmm.
when he remitted it, he changed it. And let's say, they took $50 out of your check for federal withholding.
Hmm.
He would then he would take it out of your check, but then he would move it and put it 25 on your W-2, and he would move the other 25 to his check.
Hmm.
So he was moving people's withholdings to credit him.
Hmm.
And then he'd get these big refunds, and the employees would owe money, and they couldn't figure it out because it wasn't,
Hmm.
it accumulated over time. That blew
Hmm.
my mind. I never heard
Hmm.
anything like that.
Hmm. Hmm.
So that was pretty crazy. And
Hmm.
one of my ones that everybody knows about that I talk about a lot is somebody who opened a bank account that was very close to the name of the company.
Hmm.
And what she would do when checks would come in is she would say,
Hmm.
okay, two for you, one for me, and just kind of split them up.
Hmm.
And then she would write off the client's bills and say either they
Hmm.
returned it or they went out of business.
Hmm.
And she did that for years and
Hmm.
pretty much
Years.
almost destroyed the company.
Hmm. And how did this got discovered?
How did, well, I was
Yeah.
hired as a consultant.
Hmm.
I wasn't hired to find fraud. I was hired as a consultant to figure out what's wrong with the company.
Hmm.
And I uncovered it pretty quickly. And this is a company that was audited annually.
Hmm. Okay.
And we did find it fairly quickly. And she ended up serving 10 years,
Hmm.
so there's so many different schemes and frauds and ways people do it. I mean, I feel like every second somebody's coming up with a new way to steal. And
Hmm.
especially with changes in the economy,
Hmm.
it's going to get worse. And
Hmm.
I think we should look at, there's the three C's, which is
Hmm.
culture, controls,
Hmm.
and compensation, that I always talk about outside of the fraud triangle. And I think you
Hmm.
have to really look at the culture you build.
Hmm.
How do you build a culture where you could feel you have trust but verify everything?
Right. Hmm.
But if you're not paying people properly, they typically find a way to compensate themselves,
Hmm.
whether maybe they're putting in 40 hours, but they're really only working 30 because
Hmm.
they're not making enough to work 40 hours,
Hmm.
or they will steal or put in overtime, or have access to people's social security numbers or account numbers and can do things or just fudge things, put in, you know, receipts for
Hmm.
things. And
Hmm.
so you have to get to know the people and
Hmm.
know, like, what are some warning signs?
Hmm.
Are their behaviors changing? Is something happening at home? Are they going through a
Hmm.
divorce? Do they have a
Hmm.
sick child?
Hmm.
Like, bring up this because if
Sure.
I couldn't afford medicine
Yeah.
and my
Hmm.
daughter was sick, I don't know what I
Hmm.
would do.
Sure.
That's why
Yeah.
I'd steal. I'd
Hmm.
probably try
Hmm.
to find another way. But
Hmm.
when you're in bad situations,
Hmm.
you may do bad things. So, talk to your people and
Hmm.
know what's happening so you can say what's going on. You look so
Hmm.
tired, you've been coming in late.
Hmm.
Something going
Hmm.
on at home.
Hmm.
What's happening?
Hmm.
How
Hmm.
can we help?
Hmm. Hmm.
Before they start going to other means.
Hmm. Hmm. So, what would you advise to the accountants or maybe the small business owners that how do they recognize the patterns of this, or what are the things uh, which is like a red flag to them to make them more aware before it happens, or maybe in the early signals, before it's too late?
So the majority of times it's the person you trust the most.
Okay.
So that makes it a difficult situation.
Hmm. Hmm.
So if something feels off,
Hmm.
look into it. Make
Hmm.
sure you have all passwords.
Hmm.
Don't let somebody in the company have access to all your data and you don't have it.
Okay.
Ask
Hmm.
questions.
Hmm.
I say go through your bank statement and run your finger down it, and wherever it lands, say, I
Hmm.
need all the backup for this transaction.
Hmm.
Look at things, read
Hmm.
it, check it.
Hmm.
Don't do signature stamps, don't leave
Hmm.
signed checks. You're going to have to put some of that energy in. Look, just pull up your bank's feed every single day and
Hmm.
glance at it. What is
Hmm.
this? What is this? What? I don't
Hmm.
understand what went through. Because
Hmm.
if they know you're looking,
Hmm.
they're less likely
Answer.
to do
Yeah.
something.
Hmm. Hmm.
Take a look at payroll. People give themselves
Hmm.
bonuses, raises,
Hmm.
um, you know, expenses. If maybe
Hmm.
somebody doesn't have to get approval for expenses under $50,
Hmm.
maybe they're giving you a list and everybody's got a $25 expense. You
Hmm.
approve it, and then they
Hmm.
move all of those and give it all the money themselves,
Hmm. Hmm.
because you've approved a some dollar amount.
Right. Hmm.
And so it's ask questions.
Hmm.
Don't remember you own the company. You get to say, you get to
Hmm.
choose.
Hmm.
It's when these people in house start to act
Hmm.
like, how dare
Hmm.
you ask questions? I do
Hmm.
everything around here.
Hmm.
This place would run without me. You
Hmm.
know, no, you can't have access to the books. You'll mess it up. No, I own this company. I will have access to my books. And if you have a problem with that, you don't work here anymore. I need
Hmm.
I need all the passwords. You
Hmm.
know, let somebody look at things. And an outside person is so helpful. And
Hmm.
Manoj, I drilled you on your security because I was worried about
Hmm.
that. And I was so
Hmm.
impressed
Hmm.
with what you do. Like that was one of the big things I
Hmm.
had. And hearing
Hmm.
how Finsmart
Hmm.
works with their team made me feel
Hmm.
very safe. And I
Hmm.
think that's important to get out there, that people
Hmm.
know you have
Hmm.
all these security measures in place.
Yeah.
But also, if it's an outsourced team,
Hmm.
if you have an outside company and then they're bringing you in and you have a team in and they're looking over that, it's
Hmm.
just all different layers of security that
Right.
you have. And you can bring some assurance to a business owner.
Hmm. Hmm. And many of the times, Candy, so many of the times when we speak to the people that about outsourcing or offshoring, the first thing that comes to their mind is a security risk. Okay, what about my data? So, what's your experience on that? So, uh, uh,
It's hard. And that was one of the things of bringing the team down, because I
hmm,
was constantly worried about, my team,
hmm,
who's storing passwords on their desktop, who's
hmm,
not using two factor,
hmm,
who isn't doing things the way that we say, or it's too much
hmm,
trouble, or they don't feel
hmm,
like it.
hmm,
I was
hmm,
like, I just need to work with grown-ups.
hmm,
And I already I have two children. I have my husband and my
hmm,
daughter. I don't
hmm.
need any more, like that's enough for me. So if I have to nag my team
Hmm,
to do what they need to do,
hmm,
I just would rather say, nope, don't work here and we'll get rid of clients, because
hmm,
I don't want to expend energy on that. I want to expend energy on positive, good things
hmm,
and people that care about our clients' safety as much as I do.
hmm. Also, nowadays there are a lot of tools and technologies available. Like we use, robo forms where people shouldn't be worried because, what happens is that all the passwords are saved in a robo form. So even the account manager is working on that account doesn't know the password, and client can directly change also. It just doesn't matter, right? So I'm sure there are a lot of tools, technologies available for making sure that this is no more a risk in terms of security or data protection.
Yeah. And we talk about it a lot,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
ensuring that clients' data is safe.
Hmm, hmm, hmm. So, how has technology changed the way forensic accounting or fraud investigation? So, tell me, what tools do you use, or uh, you know, uh,
Well, I'm not really using special tools
hmm,
for fraud. There are some out there.
hmm,
I can't think of the name of it, but at some of the conferences, there are things you could put in the system that
hmm,
looks for keywords.
hmm,
It looks for things. It'll look for things in emails and
hmm,
messaging. You know, in your
hmm,
Slack channel,
hmm,
um, comments on checks. You
hmm,
know, or in journal entries. You know, things like
hmm,
to adjust,
hmm,
to prove, to
hmm,
fix. What does
hmm.
that mean? You know, and is there a backup? And
uh,
why is there a journal entry on the inventory or on the accounts receivable? We don't make journal
hmm,
entries there. You know,
hmm,
so you want to, I'd say we're still, I guess, a bit old school
hmm,
of I look for the things that shouldn't be there or that doesn't seem right, you know,
hmm,
looking at financials, doing horizontal and vertical analysis, drilling
hmm,
down
hmm,
what's going on here.
hmm,
I like to check the Secretary of State on
hmm,
everybody to see, did
hmm,
somebody open a competing business?
hmm,
Are they did they open a company that is now a vendor? You
hmm,
know, um, what are the changes on the payroll? So
hmm,
there's a
hmm,
lot of little things we can look for, and we're not really currently engaged to do fraud work.
hmm,
We're always kind of looking and sniffing, and I tell the team
hmm,
if you think something's off, just
hmm,
go and get it uncovered.
hmm,
Because I'm not really working in client stuff so much
hmm,
anymore,
hmm,
but I'm so impressed with the stuff they find.
hmm,
You know,
hmm,
they've gotten stuff before it's gotten
hmm,
bad just because they know the vendors, they know the checks, they see something that "Oh, I've never seen this vendor before. Why is this going through? Who is this person?" You
hmm,
know, and they'll ask on a small dollar amount
hmm,
because people will test small
hmm,
amounts.
hmm,
So it's really knowing your client
hmm,
and their behaviors to say
hmm,
something doesn't seem right here.
hmm, hmm, hmm. And do you train your people based on these, or how? Because um, you don't go
I
as a
talk
fraud
about
investigator, right? You go as an controller or whatever, and then
yeah. So we don't say we're going to find fraud. You would never do
hmm,
that. But I
hmm,
talk about it so much to them
hmm, hmm,
that they just grasp it and they take it in and
hmm,
they're like sponges and they'll look and say, "Oh my gosh, I saw something. What do you
hmm,
think?" Or "I'm
hmm,
going to look into this. I'm going to ask."
hmm, hmm,
So there, we haven't done formal, but
hmm,
they've been to my presentations. They listened to
hmm,
me put them together.
hmm,
Um, and I talk to them about fraud stories and
hmm,
that sort of thing. So I hear it. And like I said, they are now interested in getting certified as well.
hmm.
And
That's great. Hmm,
doing some of that, although, you know, I can't really pull them. They're handling all the client work. And
hmm,
that's the hard thing with doing a fraud business is
hmm,
it's not recurring revenue.
hmm,
You know, hopefully a company isn't going to say, "Oh, just the new person just stole two, so you can come back in." It's usually a one and done.
hmm,
So it's more project work.
hmm,
And that's where I'm lucky and grateful. I do have
hmm,
recurring revenue with Cramerica that
hmm,
I can do the fraud work as project and know I
hmm.
can still eat if work isn't
Very
coming
good.
in.
Yeah. Sure, great. All right, let's talk beyond the numbers. Let's talk about your passion projects. So one you already told, maybe unbalanced. So what you are trying to accomplish over there? So what's the storyline?
I think the thing with Unbalanced is for so many years I felt very alone
Hmm,
and I felt like I was the only failure in the industry
hmm,
because everybody I talked to said they were doing great.
hmm,
I didn't know a lot of them were lying, but
hmm,
you know, you feel like you go and you talk to people and you're like, oh, so, how's your firm doing? Oh, everything's great. And I'd be like, me too. And it wasn't, but
Hmm.
I was embarrassed,
Hmm.
and I didn't know. Yeah, I wish I had talked to somebody. I wish I had confided in somebody, because it probably would have gotten better a lot quicker. And
Hmm.
that's the point of this, is that
Hmm.
if somebody is feeling alone,
Hmm.
that they can listen to this and say, oh my gosh,
Hmm.
they went through this and they got out of it.
Hmm.
Or I'm not the only one who's made that mistake.
Hmm.
Or, maybe heading off a problem because somebody talked about it and they were about to do something,
Hmm.
and they heard the story and said, oh, now I know how to protect myself.
Hmm.
So that's the whole point of Unbalanced,
Hmm.
is just to a safe space,
Hmm.
and to help people not go through a lot of the things I did or others went through.
Hmm. Very, very interesting. Very, very interesting, in fact, So, uh, what are other passion projects you do besides this?
So I've become a closet crafter. I,
Okay,
I
cool.
some weird YouTube algorithm. I saw crafting. I said, oh, that looks fun. And I
Hmm.
have done a full-fledged, turned my entire house into a craft shop.
Oh,
Did
wow.
my
What are you
first
saying?
craft show recently. My poor husband, I don't even know why he puts up with me. But now my daughter and I are crafting, and we
Hmm.
actually did a craft show, and we went as a family and we all did it together. And
Hmm.
I'm telling you, whenever I do, that man thinks it is the greatest thing ever.
Hmm.
He's just standing there beaming. Look at what my wife made. She's wonderful. And I'm like, he really is awesome. And my
Hmm.
daughter, I
Hmm.
didn't know she was a little natural salesperson. She made stuff
Okay.
and she
Hmm.
sold way more than I did.
Oh.
Um, but I thought it would like be a therapy, because
Hmm.
I lost that whole creative side of myself when,
Hmm.
work got intense, and I was working for big companies in New York. There's no
Hmm.
time for
Hmm.
stuff like that. And
Hmm.
so I felt like I was getting that side back to myself,
Hmm.
which has been wonderful. Now I realize therapy probably would have been a lot cheaper,
Hmm.
because I bought a lot. Michael's has no fear of going out of business with me around. I am buying everything at that store. Um, but what my husband did say, I said to him, thank you for your patience with me and for what I've done to our home. Because I've
Hmm.
literally, it's bad. And he said, you know what? You are so happy and
Hmm.
you're so much more relaxed.
Hmm.
I'm just glad you're happy right now.
Hmm.
And so it's been very soothing. I'm not selling anything, but I told him, we'll do a few more shows. If nothing sells, I
Hmm.
enjoy this so much. I'll just
Hmm.
start donating to like hospitals or
Hmm.
shelters or whatever. I'll just
Hmm.
give stuff
Hmm.
away because I have an income. This is just
Hmm.
something
Hmm.
relaxing for me.
So Candy Craft is coming next, right?
It is. I think it's crafty accountants coming up.
That's your way to kind of unwind, right?
Yeah, and it's nice at night.
Uh,
I try to end work at 3,
hmm.
get dinner together. Then we try
Hmm.
to sit as a family and watch movies. And I craft, and my daughter does it too. And
Hmm.
we just sit together and watch movies, and it's been really
Hmm.
nice.
Great, great. Yeah, that's cool. And how do you balance, right? I know you run unbalanced, you run
There's no
Premica,
balancing, Raj. You know that.
you run family, you run craft, So, so,
I,
so, what's the key?
I
Key
think
to
the thing is
balance.
to be present wherever you are. So if I'm
Well said.
working, I try to be present at work and not feel
Fantastic.
guilty that
Hmm.
I'm not with my family. And when I'm with my family, I just try to be present with my family
Hmm.
and feel okay that I've stepped away from work. And when I'm with my
Hmm.
friends,
Hmm.
I'm present with my friends,
Hmm.
and I don't feel bad that I'm not working or with my family. And because
Hmm.
there's only so much you can do,
Hmm.
and this is not a rehearsal. Like,
Hmm.
we're all going to the same place in the end. So I want to make the most of my days. And if
Hmm.
I'm with somebody, I want to be with them and not be worried about, oh, I
Hmm.
didn't do this, or
Hmm.
I should be doing something else. No, if and I've been saying no a lot more
Hmm. Hmm.
and
Hmm.
being very intentional about my time,
Hmm.
that I'm spending it where I want to and not out of guilt.
Hmm.
It's out of, this is what I really want to do right now.
Hmm. Sure. So living in present is your mantra, right?
I'm trying. I haven't perfected anything.
That's a great way to live,
Try.
actually. Yeah. Okay. The last few words you want to, advise to the firm owners who's maybe listening to this podcast as to, um, how do they should handle their struggles, their way to growth, and stuff like that.
I say find a safe space, find the community.
Hmm.
There's so many really amazing people in this community.
Hmm.
And I think just find your people. And if
Hmm.
they're not your people, it's okay. Go
Hmm.
away. But
Hmm.
there's good, safe spaces,
Hmm.
and you're not alone.
Hmm.
There's so many people out there that want to help you. And,
Hmm.
you know, and even if you're not like, we're not doing anything together, and we're friends, like we talk,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
it's comfortable, and it's great. And
Hmm. Hmm.
I feel safe
Hmm.
talking to you. And
Hmm.
you're out there as a safe space,
Hmm.
and you really
Hmm.
care about the people in this industry. I
Hmm.
see it, I
Hmm.
know it, you live it.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I think just people to know you're not alone,
Hmm.
and find your safe space.
Hmm.
And remember, your tombstone is not going to be about the financial statements you produced.
Right.
It's going to be
Absolutely.
about the way you lived your life and the
Yeah.
people
Hmm.
that you impacted and how you made them feel.
Yeah. I think connections, relationships is everything, right? In
Yeah,
whether it's business or life.
I agree.
Hmm. All right. Thank you so much, Candy, for being here with on our show, and you gave a lot of tidbits, on forensic accounting, fraud investigation, unbalanced, balancing the life,
Yeah.
living in present, and so many stuff. So thank you for being here, and I'll catch up with you soon in some of the conferences. Yeah.
Sounds good. Manoj, thank you so much for having me. And thank you, Finsmart, for having me here too. I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Pleasure to be with you here.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.